Yeah, hello and welcome back to ConWorxx III, Spielworxx' own small, friendly, cozy online gaming convention. My name is Uli Blennemann and I now have the CEO of one of the very best board gaming companies worldwide here. So my guest is Ignacy Trzewiczek. Sorry for immediately butchering your name, of Ignacy Trzewiczek of Portal Games as my guest here. Welcome, Ignacy. How are you?
Hello. How are you? I'm fine. Very easy, nice Saturday, so in a very good mood. I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, and we talked about this 3 minutes ago here, Ignacy and I, and Daniel in the chat is saying, "I can hear the rain." Yes, it doesn't look that nice right now. And as usual, if you have questions, comments, please put them in the chat window, and most probably Ignacy has to answer these questions. For people who do not know you, there's one person, two persons, three persons, but who is Ignacy? What are you doing?
I'm a game designer. I'm the owner of the company. I'm the publisher, so I have all different hats. At this point in the company, in my life, I'm head of the development at Portal Games. So early this year in January, Portal Games changed the CEO. So now technically it's Greg Polewka is our CEO for the company, and he runs the whole organization and all the business stuff. And I was not promoted; I was degraded to the head of development, and I'm doing what I'm liking the most in our industry. So I'm helping my developers, my talented young designers, create the games. We have full-time 4 developers in the company, and I'm working with them every day, creating new titles from the company. So this is my daytime job, head of development at Portal Games.
So I was wrong. CEO is Greg, and you are now head of development.
I'm the owner, and I'm the owner. I left as the owner.
So the owner degraded him. He degraded himself. So that is also interesting. But yeah, you need to do what you like best. And if you think designing and development, that is what I like most. If you have the chance, then
there is also where I can add the most value to the company. So managing operations and managing shipment, logistics, all these things very important. But putting me in the chair of, hey, Ignacy, design us a new game, it is the best value for the company. Like managing boring, as I call them, boring tasks, like this logistics and shipment and production. I can do this, but in the meantime, I can design a new Robinson Crusoe, hopefully, right? And it will be the best value for the company. So we discussed what's the future, what we want to achieve in the future, and decided I don't need to be a part of the day-to-day organizations. I can just sit in the chair and try to create a best-selling game every couple of years.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But are you visiting the company each day, or are you now working from home? Because designing a game, sometimes it's good to be in a quiet place. How are you operating?
At this point, I'm still coming to the office every day, but you're absolutely correct. I don't need to be in the office every day. The transition from the person who runs the whole company and is in every room, every discussion, and knows about everything. It takes weeks and months to, hey, Ignacy, back off, Ignacy, just don't be in every single meeting. So it takes time. Indeed, there is some days that I take overnight, sitting at home office, and just play testing and doing something like that. So in the upcoming months, I'll be less and less in an everyday office. And rather just playtesting or editing the rules, etc., etc.
Yeah, I like this approach a lot. But you're not becoming the new Buonacor, right? So you're not retiring, or is this an option for you? Or immediately?
At some point, I will join him. But as for today, I'm still playtesting. We have 2 big games that we need to finish this year. So we have the last 2 or 3 months to finish, because we want to have this closure. Okay, these 2 games are done, and we can look in the future for the next design. So these last few weeks of the year quite busy from the development standpoint.
Yeah, I can imagine. And hello Hans, by the way, here hello to the Netherlands. Good seeing you. again. So Portal Games, how many employees are you currently having? So to give people a number, a sense of the size.
It's a little bit above 40. I think we had now some change, so it's around 40. I know that we hired somebody. We just
40 or 14 or 40?
40.
Wow, this is large. This is really large. So
yes, we are the second biggest publishing house in Poland, and the first one is Asmodee Poland. So basically, we are the biggest besides Asmodee. And for my fans, for fans of Portal Games internationally, you guys known us for releasing 2, 3, maybe 4 games a year internationally. In Poland, we do in a year about 30 to 40 localizations. So it's like a huge company. All the major hits that you guys recognize from Essen. Last year, Essen top 3 games most popular in the Bitoku, Golem, Ark Nova. All these games are released in Poland by Portal Games. We are exclusive partner for Simon Games. So all the games that you know from the Kickstarter, like Zombicide, Massive Darkness, all done by Portal Games. So we are a major player here in Poland, and that's why we have a big sales team, big marketing team, etc., etc. And part of our organization, part of our job is also international market, but it's just a part of the whole organization.
Yeah, makes also sense. And hello, Spieletreffenverteiler Matze. Hello von Romolo saying it's Ignacy. Yes, you're right. And how many calls are you getting from Asmodee daily to purchase you?
I'm on a sort of a blacklist in Asmodee. They never called me. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, you never know. Now Greg is taking these calls anyway. But looking at your lineup of games here, you had really in my opinion, as an outsider from Germany, a very exciting year. So what did Portal Games release so far this year? Now we're talking about the international releases, of course.
This is for us a very important year because for the first time we are releasing in America and basically in English, not only games that we developed at my company, the mentioned earlier developers, but also Portal Games started getting licenses, getting contracts for the smaller publishers to release the game in North America. And we did this year 2 such titles. We did Gutenberg from Granne. It was a major hit last year in Essen. Granne is a big publisher of the child game, kids games in Poland, and they are also manufacturer. And they created this amazing gamers game called Gutenberg. As I said, a major hit in the last Essen, but they don't have a distribution in America. And we reached them and we told them, we have distribution in America, we have a great brand, we know each other for years, we can make Gutenberg success in America, let's do it together. And they agreed, and I'm proud publisher of Gutenberg for North America. And the same case was with the game Brazil. It was pre-released at Gen Con, it will be released later this year in November. In America, it is the same case. This was a game that was very successful on a Kickstarter, but it is designed by the small publishing company from Brazil, and they have no distribution whatsoever. And once again, we reached them, we told them we like the game, we really respect that. This game would fit our catalog perfectly because it's a gamer game, and we can offer you distribution for America. So this is the moment when the whole big task that I was doing for 4 years, building this network of distribution, building these good conditions of working distributions, building this friendship with distributors is paying off. And now I can reach the smaller publishers who have great games, and I told them, I already did the work for you. I already built the chain of distribution. I already have this networking, and I have a great marketing team. We can promote your game in North America and make it a success. So now, once again, if we talk about what we did, and for Essen we'll release some games that we designed from the scratch, but also for the first time in the history, we are bringing games that were designed by somebody else, and we are just doing the distribution and marketing in America.
I have 2 follow-up questions on this. Let's assume I'm an English language gamer, and I'm at Essen. Because you said Gutenberg and Brazil are for North America. So am I able to purchase these games in English language at Essen from your booth? Do you have the rights to do so?
You are not. Yes, we have this exactly. The contract says the region where I can sell the games, and we have region for North America. We have Gutenberg, which is a super edge case, I would say, very special case. We are friends with Grana, so most likely the game will be available at their booth and our booth because we have above the contract we are just friends. But with Brazil, I don't know this publisher personality, it's just a contract, so we have a rights for the North America and we will not have a Brazil in Essen. So I know it's a very sad news for the gamers because the game is very hard to get in Europe. And I know many gamers would love Portal games to bring English edition to Europe, but I don't have rights for that, so I have to obey the contract.
Yeah, makes sense. And for German language speakers, I know that I think is it Hoch that is doing Gutenberg in Germany in German language. So the game is available at Essen. So there are different options. So this was something very new for your company. But you did original designs where you are having the worldwide rights too. Which ones are these?
We released earlier this year Batman, Everybody Lies. This is a next game, another game in the detective line, very popular in Germany, nominated to Kenner Spiel des Jahres. And over the years, we experiment with detective, and we are taking the system, taking the engine of the game, and using it in different settings, different universe. We did Dune last year. This year we are doing Batman. And we are showing for the storytelling game, for the game that you are just brainstorming, discussing, reading the scenes, reading the text. You can go to any different universe, and I'm a huge fan of Batman and comic books in general. I have an insane library of comic books, and having a chance to work on a Batman was a dream come true. So we released this year. And we are right now, as I was saying, we are finishing working on a second game in this line, once again Batman game. So we will release altogether 2 Batman games. The first one already released is a campaign, so we are playing 3 scenarios and they have one overarching story. It's amazing. The other one has more cases, so it's more content, but it's like anthology. Each case is separate beast, separate storyline, separate timeline, because for all of you who follow comic books, maybe not even very close, but basically know anything about the comic books, these writers, these publishers have so many different storylines. In one comic book, Batman is old. In one, Batman is very young. In one, James Gordon is a commissioner. In one, he's a So, of course, the writers, the screenwriters for the comic books, they use the timeline in very different ways. And we wanted the same in our anthology game, this Batman game. So players, in one case, as I said, Mr. Gordon will be just a rookie policeman. In one other case, he'll be on retirement already. And it gives the players the whole scope of the richness of the world of the Batman and the Gotham City. So this is our own designed by, I have basically our developers, if I can talk about how the company is built. So I'm a head of development, and as a developer, I have 2 teams of developers. So one team is focused on the Euro games, and they are creating new expansion for Imperial Settlers, new expansion for Robinson Crusoe. They are creating a new game they will announce soon. And they are doing this Horgal game, which is a Euro game. So this is one team. And the other team is writers who write the cases for detective, and they are focused only on storytelling and writing, and they are basically writers who work in the game industry. Of course, they play some board games. Of course, they have some games in collection. But if you compare my 2 development teams, the Euro team would win every board game against the other ones, because the other ones are mostly writers who like board games. So these are these 2 teams that I have.
Interesting, yes, but it makes total sense to have writers here, because these are storytelling games, and this is of course most important, to have a great gaming experience, to have the gaming immersion here. Makes total sense. And von Rummel is saying Imperial Settlers expansion, woohoo! Yeah, everybody should say woohoo if you hear this. But here's also a different question, getting back to a little bit earlier. Will Portal Games licensing games from other publishers in the future, or is this for the moment out of the question?
Yeah, so let's call it experiment. The experiment with bringing licensing Gutenberg for North America or licensing Brazil for North America went very well for us. So we are very, very pleased with the success of both of these games. Brazil is not yet released, but already the hype is here. The game was sold out at Gen Con. People loved it. The reviewers were very happy when we were showing them the early copies. So the experiment showed that yes, we have the skill, me as a gamer and rest of my team, to find very good games from the smaller publishers and bring them to the highlight to the America. As I said, combining my distribution skill and my marketing skill to give the highlight to these smaller games that nobody would find out. So yes, we will do more of that in the future, and I'm looking forward for the new gems that I will be able to find and bring to America.
Very good, very good. And America is a good point right now, because you did a long trip to the US this year in person. So please tell us a little bit more about your trip to the States, how long it was, and why did you visit the United States for such a long time?
Yes, there was a couple of reasons, and most of them rather personal, which I will discuss, not top secret, but basically we as a Portal Games for years, we want to be at the Dice Tower Con, which is an early con for the summer, run by Tom Vassell. There is a lot of influencers and media creators at this con, and for us, over the years, it was an extremely successful con to go there with the samples of games, pre-production copies, present them to these alpha gamers, to these influencers, and build a hype for the release at the Gen Con. So we did it with Cry Havoc in 2016, we did it with the First Martian in 2017, we did it with Detective, massive success at the Dice Tower Con in 2018. So this is like our marketing plan for every year for the release. We have to be at the Dice Tower Con with the production sample of the game. So I knew that I need to be at the Dice Tower Con. And then obviously is a Gen Con, our main convention in North America, and we have to be there with the new release. And for years I was doing different strategies. So either come to Dice Tower Con, be there, promote the games, go back to Poland, 2 weeks in Poland, and go back to the Gen Con, or stay for the whole time. On one hand, staying in America for 4 weeks is quite an insane experiment, but having 4 times changing time zones for 4 weeks is also not super awesome. So this year I decided that I'm scared of flying. My fans know it. So me on a plane is always a terrible experience because I'm afraid, I'm scared. So I said I will just stay in this America for a few weeks. I will eat these hamburgers and I will survive. So this is like a business reason. But the other reason, the personal reason, was that my son this year graduated from high school and he's going to college this Monday. This Monday his first day in college. And I decided that I want to spend with him this last vacation. Like we all parents know that at some point kids just leave the nest and no longer wants to go for vacation with parents, and they want to hang out with parents because we are old.
Yeah.
So I knew that it is very hard for me to convince him to one more vacation with dad. But I said, I'm inviting you for the crazy trip to America. We'll spend 4 weeks together, and then you go to the college and find new friends, find a girlfriend, start with family. So on one hand, I did the business, I did promotion of the games, I did what I need to do to make marketing in America successful. But on the other hand, in my private time, in my spare time, I spent a blast vacation with my son.
This is wonderful. This is a really wonderful story, and thanks for sharing. And congrats to your son. To make it to college now, and he will do very well. I'm sure. And Daniel is commenting. He's saying, "I will eat the hamburgers and I will survive. I need that on a T-shirt." So yeah, so right, yeah. So compared to 2019, so pre-pandemic times now. You said you visited Dice Tower Con, came back, and then visited Gen Con again. So, how is your observations from these conventions compared to 2019? Have they changed a lot? Not only in number of people, but spending money, or what are your impressions from Dice Tower and from Gen Con?
Yes, I was scared and pessimistic as a person from Poland. I was not very optimistic about the Gen Con. For the Dice Tower Con, we already knew that they were sold out with the tickets because it's a small con, they are sold out. So we were rather positive about the con. But for the Gen Con, there was no information about the sold out tickets, so we knew that they didn't sold out. We knew that they are face masks because of the COVID in America. We knew that there was lots of controversy because 2 weeks before Gen Con changed the rules for the attendees. There was a quite insane move to 2 weeks before the con changed the regulations and said that you have to get vaccinated before entering Gen Con. I'm absolutely supporting vaccines, but telling this in the last minute, it was not super fair play for the players who were maybe not prepared for that. So I was very skeptical. But then the Gen Con started and it was a blast. It was as strong as for the previous years. And I was discussing this in a Polish podcast because for us, for you guys, for the fans, the conventions send press release with the numbers, 20,000, 50,000, 70,000, but for you it's just a number. Like you don't know what does it actually mean. Like it is like the convention could say 200 people or 200,000, you don't know. So on one hand, these numbers that they showed were smaller than the previous years, and so you could read these numbers, oh, Gen Con was smaller. On my perspective, on the halls, on the stage, at the booth, the Gen Con was as busy as always. So we as the publishers haven't seen any change. We were constantly demoing games, constantly tables were busy. As in all best Gen Cons, when the hall opens, all the fans know it, the line for the most hyped games starts and blocks the lines, and it's a craziness. People are running to the most popular booths. So it was, as always, an amazing show. So the numbers were smaller. So I don't know, maybe there was less role-playing gamers, maybe there was less cosplay. I don't know where these numbers were lower. But at the exhibitor booth, it was as busy as always. Traffic was very tense. You had, to go like a penguin, trying to bounce everybody. So from my perspective, it was great Gen Con. We were sold out with Gutenberg, sold out with the Brazil, very successful in terms of the numbers. Without giving the numbers, but I can just say that it was our best Gen Con in the history. So the revenue from the convention was the biggest in the history. So it shows that, yes, people came finally, okay, Gen Con is back, we want to buy games, we want to demo games, we want to industry to get back to beginning. So yes, we were very happy, even though I was very skeptical at the beginning.
Yeah, and Von Rummel is saying less people at Gen Con, but it was pretty busy. Yeah, and from my experience from 2019, and the same is true for Essen, is if there are a little bit less people, that's actually a good thing. Because there are way too many, especially at Essen. If you're on a Saturday, you know this, of course, Ignacy, lots of people, you know this. If it's a little bit lower levels, that's still absolutely fine and good. And coming back only very briefly to the vaccination policies, yes, me too, I agree, vaccination is needed, masks are needed, same is true now for Essen. It's just a problem, you have to be strict rules. For example, at Essen it is known for months, and they are repeating it and not changing it. But going back and forth, this is what is difficult to stomach for some people, for sure. And we have a political question here, very briefly, but I think it's a positive one, and you can definitely answer it from Hans, because I know that you are that you are doing a lot in this regard. A deeper political question: you are a Polish company, so the Ukraine is not far apart. Yeah, it's a neighboring country. Some attention, and you asked in a good way, of course, some attention for it on the 50-state Kickstarter. How is the situation now for your Ukrainian designers and other people of the company?
Yeah, so we, from the very beginning, we support, of course, Ukraine. This is a rather obvious choice. But we want and we do like action, like not just words, but being rather on the active side. So from the couple of small examples, we, for instance, when the war started, we already had printed a game from the Russian publisher, and of course it was not very politically correct to release the Russian game in this situation, but we decided that instead of doing some crazy move, we just said we have this game printed, we have to sell it, but we can do it in a good way. So 25% of the revenue from the sales of the game, we go to the humanitarian organization to help Ukraine. So we show the fans, okay, the game is already printed, the game is good, designed by the Russian designers. hopefully not supporters for Putin, but let's buy the game, let's play the game and use the revenue to support Ukraine. So this is one example of what we were doing. We are very active as a Portal Games. There's a huge Polish a Facebook group of the geeks. It has more than 8,000 geeks. So there's like a big group on Facebook, and this is a group all about the charity auctions. And we as a Portal Games are very active there. We are supporting this group, and we are either showing the items there or buying these items just to gather the money. The newest action ended yesterday on Friday. And once again, to just give the funds, the concrete, the action was done from these auctions. The whole group, we bought a drone, like the actual army drone that was sent to Ukraine and helps some soldiers fight the war. So we are quite focused on what we can do that actually make the difference. We had also the situation that in these very first weeks of hundreds of thousands of refugees coming to Poland. We hired, for instance, for 2 months one of the Ukrainian refugees. She was doing Arthur, she was doing DTP. She had no clue about the board games. She was, of course, in a not best shape after leaving the country. But we said, you got the job for 2 months. Do whatever you want. Here's some task. We will pay you, and you just settle down in Gliwice, in our city, and find a job that actually interests you, that actually pays you all the bills. So instead of just talking, we look what we can do in a small, but do it, like make it like a task that was done and help. So I'm very proud of me and my team, all the basic industry in Poland and all the geeks. They are very active, like active in a good way, just like doing things, and I'm very proud of what is happening in Poland.
Yeah, and let me personally thank you here for all your support for the Ukraine, because it's now needed more than ever after the annexation yesterday of the so-called annexation of these 4 provinces. And and Poland, of course, for people overseas who may not know this, is very active, not because it's a neighboring country, because they are doing stuff. It's humanitarian help, it's military aid, and of course there are millions of refugees coming from Ukraine who are going first to the West, and that's the first country. And you need to shelter these people. So it's a huge effort. So a personal thank you from me here as well. But we are hearing good news again from the Ukraine yesterday, today. Lyman is surrounded, and there are between 2,000 to 5,000 Russian soldiers encircled. So annexed yesterday, but probably taken in the next 72 hours away from Mad Putin. So, but that was a political segment, but in a good way. I think I again thank you. Going back now to Spielworxx, which is next week, of course. What can we expect from Portal Games?
Yeah, we have one big release. There's a game called 11, which is a football manager, the board game. It's a Euro-style game in which you are managing your football club. For all of you who played any football manager games, either these new ones from EA Sports or the other one on Amiga back then, this is the game, our dream game. So you are having your team, you are having your director, you are having your staff, you are having your stadium, you have your advertisement, all these things that we know from the video games is here in the board game. Obviously, it is much more simpler than modern football managers. But because I played in my high school, I played a ton of football managers. Like it was one of the games. Yes, it was very. And I played the Bundesliga because the football manager I got was the Bundesliga game. So comparing the complexity of our board game with that football managers from these 90s, it is similar. Like yes, you have your stadium, you can build your ads, you can have your sponsors. Here's your couple of your soccer players. Here's a couple of people. So for all of you who are in a managing games, managing resources, managing team, tapping your cards to have some combos, this is the dream come true. The game we just started shipping the Kickstarter, the game found the copies, because obviously with this logistic hell we had a huge problem with the situation. And if I can once again share some Slavic pessimism with our listeners, so Essen is next week. and we are just starting shipping pre-orders, the backed versions, the Kickstarter versions, as our listeners and viewers can submit is quite too late. These backers should have this game earlier to start with the hype, to promote the game, to show the game. Oh, I got my copy, and everybody on the Facebook asks, where you get it? And they say, you can buy it at Essen. So we are like 2 or 3 weeks too late with actually resolving this task. Why is this happening? Because the trade with the games from China was stopped in Kazakhstan, former Soviet Union, for all of you who don't know where Kazakhstan. And due to the war, due to the things with the trains, and there were some things happening in Kazakhstan, they stopped all the trains for a couple of days, and the whole thing was stopped there for a little bit more than 2 weeks. And these are these 2 weeks that we are lacking right now to build the hype for the game. So luckily in Europe football is popular. Luckily in Germany football is popular. Luckily Lewandowski is doing show in Barcelona. Luckily we will have some hopefully some initial hype for the game, and then the game has to defend itself, has to prove that it's a legit, interesting business simulation of running the football club. The game is designed by Netherlands designer Thomas Jansen. He will be at Essen, our special guest. He will be demoing the game and signing the copies every single day except Sunday. So you can meet him, and he is insanely fan of football. So if you guys like football, if you want to talk about the football, he will talk with you all day long. True designer of this game. So this 11, and we will have expansion for Neuroshima Hex, our ongoing series, our first game released in 2007, and since 2007 every year we are releasing new expansion. This is the evergreen for us. We have a new expansion for Empires of the North. This is a solo campaign, very interesting, and we will have a re-release of the old game Basilica, back then released by Rebel Games. And we got the rights for this new edition, and we are doing so 4 products, and of course the products from the previous month, so Batman Everybody Lies and other things as well. So very busy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very busy, and everybody should check out the Portal Games booth at Essen. You have to do so, and I personally pre-ordered 11. Will pick it up at the Portal booth. Because I think a good football management game is needed in this hobby. So it's definitely lacking. But also I think what Ignacy mentioned is important, that even if you're not into football or into sports at all, this is a management game. So basically you're handling resources and you're doing stuff, so it should appeal to even a broader audience. The only thing which I not like that you mentioned Lewandowski, because he moved from Dortmund to Bayern Munich to Barcelona. So why are we talking about Lewandowski? I don't know. No, actually, so I'm really excited for 11. And Von Rummel is saying congrats to Ignacy for finally becoming the World Cup champion at Gen Con. So you are the World Cup champion at Gen Con?
So here's the story, obviously. 2013, my first Gen Con, I was invited to Gen Con by my publisher back then, Zeman Games. They were doing Robinson Crusoe, and I was a guest. And I was running demos of Robinson Crusoe all day long. You guys know me, I'm working very hard at convention, I love it. And I was running these demos one day, second day, and at some point my new fans, people who just found me, said, dude, you are working so hard, you need to stop working, we are inviting you for our secret game, come here at this point of the day. And they invited me to play the World Cup game. World Cup game is a very old game from I think the beginning of the 2000s. Is a very random game about the whole World Cup. You are having your own team, and you need to move it from the group stage to the playoffs and to actually win.
I have it. Is it from Australian Design Group in a large box, in a large flat box? I have it. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's insanely stupid but very fun game. We played the game. I had a blast. And of course, we became friends, because when you play a board game about the football with the football geeks, you immediately become the friends. And since then, since 2013, we made a tradition that on Wednesday, before the Gen Con starts, on Wednesday we were meeting in the pub to kick off the Gen Con with the game of the World Cup. And since 2013, I never won this game. So it was 10 years of me losing the game. And this year, finally, Wednesday before Gen Con, I won the game. And we had printed from Board Game Geek boards for this World Cup in Qatar. So we were simulating what will happen this year later. They wanted to offer me Poland, to be manager of Poland, but I said no. Poland is in a group with Argentina and Mexico. I am not doing this group. I don't want to play Poland this year. And I played England, and England, in our version, England was a World Cup champion. So we will see if I predicted the future.
Well, I'm not sure. If this is a realistic. But anyway, congrats here to become World Cup champion in that game. And it's an interesting game, but yeah, as you said, a little bit too random, a little bit too silly. But you can finish it in 90 to 120 minutes, I think. So that makes it pretty nice. And I think actually, about 10 years ago, but I may be totally wrong here, Lookout Games did a new German edition of that one. Okay. But it's a long time ago. Repackaged it. Maybe I'm wrong here. But von Rummel has another question. What is Ignacy's favorite Spielworxx game? So
the answer must be Die Macher. I did Die Macher in Poland, and I absolutely love it. And I said it in many interviews. Like, to be honest, we decided to do Polish edition of this game because Die Macher, the famous Die Macher, the cult game, one of the most famous games from the old days, the classic game, and there was an opportunity to do this. And then I played the game and I said, oh my god, this game is so freaking amazing, and it is old but still it's fresh, and there's not many games like that. We played in the company, and then I started to be advocate of this game in the company, because everybody at Portal Games, these 40 people, they knew we are doing the game about elections in Germany. What the hell? So nobody wanted to play this game. I said, guys, I play this amazing, play with me. And then I was one employee after another. I was convincing them to play with me, and the game is really, really super thematic. I know it sounds crazy, but this is super thematic. And at the same time, the interaction and the negotiation, and there's everything in this game that I love. So there is tabletop, there is some planning, there's a long-term strategy when you see how the future rounds will look like. So there's a tactics and there is a strategy. There is tabletop. There's everything in this game. So yes, by far Die Macher is absolutely amazing. I strongly recommend you guys. I don't know if it is still available because it was
it's sold out by me. So if you still have stock, I'm not sure, but if people are interested in this game, they can check out the Portal Games website, because the game is language independent, and you can download the English or German rules and then play with the Polish edition. It's not a problem at all. And there will be a Spanish edition of this game soon. Again, it's amazing that you have a German election game in Polish language, in Spanish language. But it tells you something about the quality. And although the new edition has not lots, but quite a few changes, then you have to see that the original design is from 86. It's from 86. And you know, Kalle is a wonderful person, Kalle Schmiedel, the author, but back in these days, there weren't many people doing these games. Different world, different market, different everything. So, yeah, wonderful game. And thank you, von Rummel, for this question. So the check is in the mail, as they say. But thank you all viewers, for your time. And of course, Ignacy, so just a couple of days before Essen, with all the preparations and with everything, thank you being my guest today. I wish Portal Games, and you, of course, a wonderful Essen Games Fair, and to everyone, you need to check out the Portal Games booth. You cannot miss it. It's large, it's in the front halls, and please check out the games. There is so much stuff. There is 11 new things for Imperial Settlers, I think. Batman's,
Basilica and Batman, a lot of things. Yes.
So you'll find something for sure. And there's also, at a certain point, there's probably Steven there, right?
Saturday, 11 a.m. For 1 hour, we are just making fun with our fans. So if you guys want to meet the Board Games Insider podcast, me and Steven Monaco, be at our booth at Portal Games booth at Saturday, 11 a.m. And for 1 hour, we are just making fun event with our fans. So be there.
Wonderful. So bring cookies, bring beer for Steven, and to everybody who's at Essen, of course, also have a great time. Thank you. And
thank you for having me.
yeah, of course. Bye-bye. My pleasure.